Welcome to the Explainer. If you're a focused learner looking to uncover the fascinating mechanics of biology without any of the fluff, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're unpacking an absolute marvel of biological engineering. We are looking at the Indian bullfrog, scientifically known as Rana tigrina. Now, we usually just think of frogs as, simple amphibians sitting on lily pads. But today, we're going to deconstruct this creature and look at it for what it truly is, a highly complex, perfectly optimized survival machine. Here is our blueprint for today. First, we'll start with the division of labor, move into morphology, explore the internal anatomy, check out the control and coordination systems, dive into reproduction, and finally, look at the frog as nature's ultimate ecological balancer.
Section 1. The division of labor, building a survival machine.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really understand the frog, we've got to look at its body like a highly efficient factory. A multicellular organism like our frog is made up of literally billions of cells. But they aren't just thrown together randomly. Similar cells band together to form specific tissues, like muscle or nerve tissue. Then, those tissues combine to create an organ, and organs team up to form entire organ systems. By splitting up the work, a true division of labor, these microscopic workers allow the massive biological machine to survive and thrive. Check out that iconic olive green skin and those dark spots. This creature is what biologists call a poikiotherm. Now, unlike humans, frogs are cold-blooded, meaning they don't have a constant internal body temperature. Their body heat rises and falls completely at the mercy of their environment. Because of this, their biology has been forced to adapt brilliantly to their surroundings, just to keep that internal factory running smoothly.
Section 2. Morphology, the outer defenses.
Now, what's really interesting about this next part is how extreme the frog's survival tactics actually are. Because they're cold-blooded, peak summer heat and freezing winter cold are absolutely lethal to them. So what do? They literally disappear. They retreat into deep underground burrows to shelter themselves. In the extreme heat, it's called estivation, or summer sleep. And in the freezing cold, it's hibernation, or winter sleep. They essentially hit the pause button on their entire biological factory to ride out the tough times.
But when they are active, their outer defenses act as these incredible sensory and mobility upgrades. Get this, a frog never actually drinks water. Instead, their smooth, mucus-covered skin lets them absorb water directly from their environment. Next up, those bulging eyes are equipped with built-in goggles. It's called a nictitating membrane, and it protects their eyes underwater. Also, instead of external ears like we have, they have a membranous tympanum on the side of their head to pick up sound signals. And finally, you've got those massive, 5-digited webbed hind limbs. Those provide the explosive power they need for leaping on land and swimming through the water.
Section 3. Anatomy, the internal engine.
All right, let's crack open the outer hull and look at the dense network of internal organs that make up the engine room. Let's actually follow the fuel through it. It all starts with a specialized bilobe tongue whipping out to capture prey. That prey hits the stomach, where hydrochloric acid and gastric juices churn it into a soupy substance called chyme. From there, it enters the duodenum, which is the first part of the small intestine. Now here's a wild fact. The frog's alimentary canal is surprisingly short. Why? Because frogs are carnivores. Meat is way easier to digest than plant matter, so evolution naturally optimized their engine by shortening the intestinal tract. Nutrients get absorbed by tiny folds called villi, and the remaining waste is pushed out through a single exit point called the cloaca.
You can really see just how efficiently packed this engine is. Right around the stomach, you've got the liver and the pancreas. Now, these aren't just sitting there taking up space. They are absolutely crucial chemical supply lines. The liver secretes bile, which gets stored in a little gallbladder, to emulsify fats, while the pancreas pumps out juices to digest carbohydrates and proteins. It's a perfectly coordinated, highly compact chemical processing plant.
But hey, an engine needs more than just fuel, right? It needs oxygen. Frogs actually have a dual-mode breathing system. When they're in the water, they use cutaneous respiration, meaning they diffuse dissolved oxygen straight through their highly vascularized skin. But on land, they switch over to pulmonary respiration, using their buccal cavity and pink sac-like lungs. So why does this matter? Well, remember that summer and winter sleep we talked about earlier? While they're buried deep underground in that state of suspended animation, their lungs aren't actually working. They rely entirely on breathing through their skin to stay alive.
3. That is the exact number of chambers in a frog's heart. Unlike humans who have a 4-chambered heart,
This muscular pump, which is safely enclosed in a protective membrane called the pericardium, operates with just 2 atria and 1 single ventricle.
And pumping out from that 3-chambered heart is a highly advanced closed vascular system. Here is a fantastic piece of biology trivia for you. Unlike our mammalian red blood cells, a frog's red blood cells actually have a nucleus. On top of that, this whole system is highly networked. Frogs have these specialized bypass routes called portal systems. The hepatic portal system directly links the intestines to the liver, and the renal portal system connects the lower body straight to the kidneys. It's all about ensuring ultra-efficient processing of nutrients and waste.
Section 4. Control coordination and waste. Managing the machine.
Obviously, an engine as powerful as this one produces exhaust, so let's look at the filtration system. Frogs are what biologists call ureotelic animals, meaning they excrete urea. Basically, their blood carries nitrogenous waste into a pair of compact, dark red, bean-like kidneys. Inside those kidneys are little functional units called nephrons. Think of them as microscopic filters that pull the waste right out of the blood to form urine, which is temporarily stored in a thin-walled bladder before being expelled out through the cloaca.
And this brilliantly illustrates how all these moving parts stay in sync, which requires a seriously sophisticated control center. The frog's brain is heavily protected inside a bony box called the cranium. From there, exactly 10 pairs of cranial nerves branch out to control the body, and they operate alongside a massive chemical network of hormones secreted by endocrine glands, like the pituitary and thyroid. Oh, and here's a fascinating detail. That eardrum on the outside of their head, the tympanum, it doesn't just process sound, it's actually responsible for their sense of equilibrium and physical balance too.
Section 5. Reproduction and life cycle. Passing on the blueprint.
At the end of the day, the ultimate goal of any biological machine is to ensure the blueprint survives by passing it on to the next generation. In the Indian bullfrog, this involves clear sexual dimorphism, meaning you can physically tell the males apart from the females. For instance, if you spot a frog croaking loudly to attract a mate, you're looking at a male utilizing his specialized sound-producing vocal sacs. Males also have a copulatory pad on the first digit of their forelimbs to assist during mating. Female frogs simply do not have these features.
When we compare these reproduction systems, the male system features a pair of yellowish oval testes that are adhered directly to the kidneys. The sperm travels through 10 to 12 little tubes called vasa efferentia into Bitter's canal and ultimately out through the urogenital duct. The female system, on the other hand, features separate ovaries and oviducts that open directly into the cloaca, meaning they have absolutely no functional connection to the kidneys.
2,500 to 3,000. That staggering number is the amount of ova, or eggs, a mature female frog can lay at a single time. Fertilization happens entirely externally, out in the water. From there, the eggs hatch into tadpoles, which then undergo an intense biological transformation called metamorphosis to finally become adult frogs, ready to start the whole cycle all over again.
Section 6. Nature's ecological balancer. The wider impact. So we've spent this entire time zoomed way in on microscopic cells and intricate internal plumbing. But why does this actually matter to the wider world? Well, the Indian bullfrog has massive practical relevance. Frogs are highly beneficial to us. Because of their carnivorous diet and those short, efficient digestive tracts we talked about, they are incredible natural pest controllers, eating massive amounts of insects and protecting human crops. Furthermore, they serve as an absolutely vital, indispensable link in the food chain and the broader ecosystem's food web.
Which leads us to our final thought. We've seen just how perfectly engineered this creature is to survive, to balance its own internal systems, and to balance the insect populations around it. So what happens to the entire blueprint of life, to our very ecosystems, when an ecological balancer like the frog is removed? It's a pretty sobering question, right? And it's one that makes understanding these incredible biological machines more important than ever. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope this explainer has left you eager to learn even more about the incredible, intricate mechanics of the natural world.